Have to wear a bra. Oh. You think you need one?
Are you okay? You can tell me the truth.
Fine. Good. Yes. We have the Campus Improvement Committee. Any volunteers? Social Committee. Fundraising Committee. And how are you?
I read that when you don't have any loved ones around, your life expectancy drops drastically, but you know, I've had a good run.
Gets tiring. Trying so hard all the time, doesn't it?
I don't know if I want to do this, just that we're ready. Please, God, let it be a lady. Do you think any of us will look like that when we're...
Oh, did you want... Hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers. Sorry, hello, I'm Thomas Carruthers.
I've only done this about 200 times. And I must increase my bust, Rhian Holmes.
You went for that? Why didn't you?
I had so much material to choose from, and I was spoiled for choice.
Every year, I don't know why I'm starting on this. Every year, there is a huge movie that everybody loves that is about women or about a minority, and I'm always like middling on it. And then every single year, everyone's like, "Oh, why didn't you like Barbie?" And I was like, "You just don't like women." And I said, "No, I love." And then I have to, and then there is always, and it's always true, but there is always a smaller, more beautiful film that I enjoy, and I sound like a scam when I say, "No, but I loved Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret." And this is true, and you'll have heard me say these things. I think Moonlight was one. What there was another big. Oh, I can't remember. But this was before Moonlight won Best. I liked Moonlight before Moonlight won Best Picture, guys. But no, every year there is a bigger movie that I don't enjoy, and
What's the bigger movie in this instance? Call Me by Your Name.
no, I loved Call Me by Your Name, and you know what? I still do.
No one should have been replaced.
Why do you sound like you're in a tunnel? We're gonna pause. We've got Rhian out of the tunnel that she was in. I finalised the Thomas Carruthers Best of the Year list. It's yet to be released officially, but it is been finalised. And Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret is firmly at number 12. However, this watch this morning, I'm not going to rank it higher, but it's just, I stand by my 10 out of 10. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's a perfect film. I think it's beautiful. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. Please tell me you liked Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret.
Do you know what? I went on such a journey with this film. I think I got through like the first 20 minutes and I was genuinely considering messaging you and being like, I'm not gonna have anything to say. Like, this is gonna be a boring podcast. Like, it's fine, I guess. Literally by the end, shed a tear.
Yeah,
like,
yes.
once I kind of, and I agree with what you said, like about this film being your Barbie. I think this film is my Barbie in the sense that like everything that my friends came from Barbie thinking about in terms of womanhood and like intergenerational like female relationships, that's what this film had for me.
Yeah, I'm not good. I don't want to talk about Barbie. But
Well,
on every,
I think Barbie, I went in with such insurmountable expectations, like because of all the hype, and then it just didn't live up to these impossible standards. And I think I went into it with too much of like a critic's head, whereas with this one, I just learned to enjoy myself, and it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, I had that with Saltburn, but no, it's I mean, I watch everything with a critical head, I guess. But I no, you're right. I mean, to we don't need to rag on the big speech anymore. Nobody, poor Greta, doesn't need any more. What if, right? What if they win Best Adapted Screenplay and they go up and Greta's like, and I would like to thank Noah. If he didn't write the big speech near the end, then Barbie wouldn't be the film that you. And he's just stood there going, thank you, Greta, thank you." Um, that would be an incredibly amazing reveal. And then, of course, I would lose my integrity because I'd then have to pretend to like Barbie. No, just everything. We don't need to talk about the speech anymore. But everything that speech said, just in big, bold, fucking capital letters, this movie says just in spades and subtlety. And I think it's a worthy conversation to have of whether we are adults, which is frightening, but we are adults, and when I have my little girl, will she actually get more out of watching Barbie, a movie that goes here? And will this movie slightly go a little bit over her head? Oh, I hope not. But sorry, I'm rambling. You talk.
Well, as the token woman on all of your episodes, I feel very qualified to talk about this movie. I really enjoyed how, well, again, at the beginning, I was like, I don't think I'm going to relate to Margaret, like with the way that it
Oh no,
portrays
I don't relate to Margaret
her.
at all. I relate very specifically. I have never been more see. I'm going to get to it later. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
But yeah, like by the end, I felt so connected to her as like a young person muddling through, but also like her mother. I think the movie adaptation did a lovely job of like spotlighting Rachel McAdams' character's journey and her own struggle with feeling like a grown up, because I had
Mm,
this whole meltdown yesterday about being the ripe age of 23 as a filming and just still not feeling authentic in like spaces with grown-ups and people my age and older, and like yeah, just seeing her navigate that and like learning to live
mm.
herself and not please everyone and like not pander to her parents and things like that, and then teaching her own daughter to kind of move through the world with confidence as well. Oh my god, the we'll get to it, but the
Well,
background.
Rachel McAdams is a Thomas Carruthers 2023 award nominee. She didn't win. I'm sorry, she didn't win, but she was
She's gonna
nominated
be
for best.
heartbroken.
She was nominated for best supporting actress. She, of course, lost to Julianne Moore in May December. Insecure people are very dangerous. Um, but she did lose, unfortunately. However, you've kind of you've had this you're getting into the Oscars this year, and obviously this isn't an Oscar series, but your big Oscar choice this year was you're going to only watch the movies that are nominated. And I, with this 2023 Spotlight series, have forced you to watch some of the films that haven't been nominated because half of the fun of the Oscars is knowing and being angry about things that weren't nominated. And there was a swell for about a couple of months, and it was like it was growing a little bit of, is Rachel going to get a very deserved best supporting actress nod here? And I don't know who you'd, well, no, I do know who you'd knock off, but I don't, we're not going to throw people under the bus here. But
Her first scene where she's talking about why her parents don't talk to her, like I saw that in
oh wow.
isolation, it kind of made the rounds. And like to see it in, in the first like act essentially, it almost felt like out of place. Not in like a negative way, but it was like she should not be eating this much. Like she should not be
Well,
like
you said the words movie adaptation, which I believe, is this somewhere at the back of my mind and false? You've read these books, haven't you?
I have a very like what's the word? Loose connection to Judy Blume. I think I read Blubber when I was like around that age. Like it feels like her works feel like a very distant memory. Like if you were to read them to me again, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, I did.
As somebody who knows, like, without arrogance, a lot about literature,
Mm.
never came into my vicinity. Never came into my vicinity as a child, as an adult. It never even came into my osmosis.
Because they weren't for you.
No, but apparently there are.
Girl.
No, but apparently there are. But she's written about boys as well. Anyway, doesn't matter. But like never came to. And I think it's a very. Whereas I've been listening to a lot of American interviewers, American podcasts. She is because I think she is our American. She is their American lesbian, Jacqueline Wilson.
Lesbian.
Lesbian Jacqueline Wilson. She is their Jacqueline Wilson, and like,
Yeah.
and I'm sure if you said to an American, you know, who's Jacqueline Wilson? What, did Jackie O get married again? It's a terrible impression of an American. I love the Americans. I literally fought for the Americans. Not literally, but like people were like, oh, Americans are so loud and annoying. I was like, you've probably never met one. Um, anyway, and so yes, are you there? Got it to me back. It's so beautiful. And no, but I know what you're gonna. I know what we have got a lot to say. I've made some notes, but I know what you mean. Like on the surface, you could very easily say, "Beautiful film, loved it, great." What's to be said? And that is something that I think has worked against it regressively in Oscar campaigning, in just in general. I mean, we've got to the end of the year, and yeah, you've got some people fighting for it, but you know, this was a movie that came out early in the year. I think it was Between Ships, and um, I mean, you said that it made the rounds on your TikTok or whatever. Has it been in your vicinity or beyond me raving?
It was purely just that monologue from Rachel McAdams. I saw it on Instagram, I think, or Facebook, because in lieu of TikTok for my own
Or do you not
mental
do
health.
TikTok now?
No, I haven't done TikTok in like 3 years, and I like to pretend that I'm better than everyone for it. But I just watch Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels and all the trash versions that aren't tailored to your taste. But I will still find a way to like sit there for an hour and watch like an episode of House when I hate House.
You're watching an episode of House on Instagram
On
Reels.
Facebook Watch, they'll post like a whole video and it'll probably be in like 2 times speed, but because my brain is rotted from the inside out, I will sit and watch it. Anyway, tangent.
Rhian, I need to buy a DVD player. Rhian, we need to do this.
I have
I'm
plenty of media. I have plenty of media to actual media to watch, but this is what I do with my life. Anyway, yeah. So that monologue did make the rounds, and it was incredible out of context, and then even more incredible in context.
mm.
Um,
Well, it's
yeah,
not what you think the film's going to be. I mean,
no,
going in, you think, oh, it's going to be a little girl, you know, coming to terms with the period, coming to terms with coming of age. You don't think it's going to be this incredible triptych of three generations of women coming of age in their own ways, and also throw into that this huge religious, not debate, well, yeah, debate, this huge religious, this religious core to the whole thing. I mean, I'm
I have
naive. Again, I didn't know the book. So I didn't know that was a driving force of it,
yeah,
despite the
I have
title.
an an anecdote around this, which again made me relate to Margaret all the more. I think it was about like 9, 10, 11, where I too was like thinking about, the church and my relationship to faith. Like, and it was specific. I remember the exact moment it was because I went to a Church of Wales school, Protestant like denomination. So we would have these Eucharists, these assemblies, and we were led in prayer by our like pastor or whatever. And he says, Father, we have sinned in thought, word, and deed. And me in the back of the room, I was pissed because I was like, I didn't know you could sin in thought. Like, I've been doing so well to be a good person and just keeping it all locked away. And I was like, you can sin in thought as well. Like, that feels like such a cheat. And then I just kind of I just wrote off the whole thing because I was like, that's too hard.
That could be a good tight 10. in your stand-up. You could do that.
Yeah.
No, yes, I've never been a particularly religious person at all. Um, full stop, really. And we're not really a religious family. And yeah, no, there's no real fact. I don't think, no, I mean, yeah, no, none of the funerals have been heavily religious. There's, they did one prayer. We're not really, it's never been a huge part of my life. And
Well, I
nor,
was only enrolled in a church school because it was like a good school, and
mm,
like we lived in the catchment area. But like I'm grateful for that experience because, speaking to people from all faiths, like I think is a very um character building experience, and like it's just good to have those different um belief systems, like to just have a base awareness of them.
mm,
But yeah, like I definitely empathize with that struggle, that inner conflict of like, and also just being like a preteen girl and like wanting somebody to talk to that isn't going to be awkward about everything or like feed you the wrong answers. And so, you know, naturally for some people that moves to like a deity or like just a voice out in the void,
mm,
like being like somebody please validate me and listen to my concerns.
mm.
I think it's just handled really well.
It's a great film. I was worried to start with because we start summer camp 1970 and there's like super fun montage. Oh, everybody's having fun. And then the first song they drop is like Spirit in the Sky. And I thought, okay, bit basic. Is this going to be bad? Is this going to be bad? Oh no. And then they're carrying up the suitcase up the thing. And then, I mean, I don't need to tell you,
Kathy.
Kathy Bates. I don't need to tell you how much I love Kathy Bates. My beloved Annie Wilkes, my beloved The Unsinkable Molly Brown.
I did the movie grid the other day and I was one away from a full like perfect full house and it was Kathy Bates. Um and I'd had two of the others and then I couldn't think of the third Kathy Bates movie. And then I saw her in this and I was like, damn.
God damn you, Kathy. Um, and just from the off, I mean, it was a very, very hard decision deciding who gets the Thomas Carruthers Awards 2023 Best Supporting Actress win from this nomination from this film. Because
I
there
think
wasn't
you're
a
biased because of Misery.
no, I'm
Like,
not. I'm not. I think this is a genuine. I think she's astounding in this.
I mean, I thought she was very good,
I gave
but
it
I
to
wasn't
Rachel.
sure.
Don't worry. I gave it to Rachel.
Yeah, good.
Um, have I told you that Rachel McAdams is Will's biggest crush of all time?
That makes perfect sense.
He
She's
loves
material.
he loves About Time. He really liked Midnight in Paris, and he loves Spotlight. It's not. Oh, love Will. Anyway, but so they're all coming up and they're carrying up the thing. And what are all those boxes? And you think it's going to be like a slow burn reveal of, oh, they're moving. And then Kathy just straight in, you're moving. And, I'm never going to see you again. And it's all sort of played for this wonderful comedy. And then again, the film slowly unravels and has this incredibly pained sadness to it. I
I
want
bet
to
you
talk about
loved the to-do list of wake up, do crossword puzzle, wake up, do podcast.
this is my diary, and it is nothing but
I will never get used to your handwriting. It's like you've held someone for
I'm
ransom.
having a Chinese later with my family, and I've written down Chinese just to give myself some
Something to do.
some fucking sense of oh, yeah, very bleak, very very bleak. Where were we? Oh yeah, I want to talk about Benny Safdie. This is the year of Benny Safdie. He has moved to do more acting, and he's the dad. And did you watch Uncut Gems?
Uncut
No,
Gems.
he's very good. He directed that with his brother Josh, and he's in this completely
Licorice Pizza.
He was so good in Licorice Pizza as Jerry. Oh, I think he was called Jerry. And I'm just gonna. Oh, it's so
And
brilliant.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, until they make a bigger bomb. Fusion atoms. You haven't watched Oppenheimer yet, have you?
It's like one of the last three,
Let's
I think.
well, let's get a win. So
Yeah.
I do enjoy that you've been like, yeah, I'm going to tick them all off. Like, it save zone of interest in Oppenheimer.
Well,
Um,
we were trying to like balance it out and do like a bleak one and then like a
mm,
fun one.
well, you're going to run out soon,
We're
aren't you?
kind of stacked as we've just got. Oh no, Poor Things is fun, right?
Yeah, it is technically. I Ruby, previous guest. I messaged her saying I found these links to where you can buy Zone of Interest and Iron Claw, and she said I can't wait for my guys to fight it out. And I said, I hope you don't mean the Nazi.
No, she's talking about Iron Claw and Zone of Interest battling it out for Best Picture.
Yeah, well, one of us don't even nominated. So what a terrible. You'd like Iron Claw. It's got all of your favorite white boys in
Got
it.
all my boys. Got all my white boys.
I'm gonna collect them. Um, oh, was Benny Safdie a new white boy for you?
Do you know what? Like if I see him in more stuff, like when he's mowing that lawn, me and Rachel, yeah, we're ugly.
Yeah. Um, I mean, he is me as a dad. What do you think is the most realistic depiction of me as a father?
What, like in the entirety of cinema,
This is
or?
a terrible conversation. I
Well,
not gonna be
I said that you very early on in our friendship. I said that you were like the dad from National Lampoon's.
the greatest thing you've ever said. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like crack to you.
Well, that was
Um,
because we were doing a Christmas dinner and I went full Clark. Not full Clark, but we're going to be having so much fun. I know you haven't seen Vacation.
no.
Oh, National Lampoon's Vacation is one of my all-time favorites. Clark, do you think we should just turn around? I think you're fucked in the head. We're going to be having so much fun. They're going to have to do plastic surgery to wipe the smiles of our fucking faces. Oh,
Uh, yeah,
anyway,
we've given
sorry.
a little bit of Phil Dunphy and you as well.
The moral of the story is that I will be a great father. Um, movie things that this movie doesn't have: forced, unnatural conflicts, um, big, big C. You know what? I was so relieved. There's an early part where where Sylvia's like, "Oh, you've got to come down, and I've bought us tickets for the middle of this," and I was like, "Oh no, she's gonna become friends with Nancy, and there's gonna be a party, and she's gonna choose to go to the party, and poor Kathy's gonna be alone. Oh no!" And then she didn't, and I was so happy. And I thought, oh, good, because in a lesser, not even in a lesser film necessarily, but in just like a more forced film, in a less natural film, that would be a reason. She'd be like, oh, I've got to go to a party that I want to go to. I'm becoming a girl, and Kathy Bates would be sad and crying and throw the tickets away or something. But there's
Yeah, like
none. Yeah.
I really like that she doesn't really ever sacrifice like what is important to her as a kid. And like
Mm.
obviously there's still that, they still give time to getting in with this new crowd and feeling swayed by all of their opinions. And then you've got kind of like the Act Three moment of I don't even know if I want to be friends with Nancy anymore. Like she's weird. But
How
it doesn't
she
ever like
is
bubble up into
sensational.
anything. Oh, she's great. But
That
it
was
doesn't
an
ever like culminate in anything, which I think is very true of again middle school friendships and relationships. Is
yeah,
like it's all just a bit fluid, and then like her reaching out to is it Dana at the end,
Dana, the friend.
the one that developed early.
Oh, Laura Danker.
Laura, yeah, like I think
Yeah.
that's just really natural of like it's not this huge thing. It's just this little olive branch of like I'm gonna hang out with you, and then people will follow suit
Yeah.
because they've just been waiting for a moment to not be like little bitches.
Also, it's not like so like boldly or stringently based around the whole it's a year, it's a school year, it's just subtle things like yes, it's Christmas, and yes, there's a, you know, it's coming up to summer, but it's so natural. It's not like, oh, it's the
Yeah, it
Easter
moves at the
play.
pace of like a memory almost, like where you're
Mm,
like, and being a young person just going through the motions, like you almost feel like your days aren't your own. Like you're just kind of going to
mm.
like class and then you're home and then you're with grandma. Like it just felt like the pacing of that felt very natural.
Everything's chaptered by, oh, I've got Florida in like a month, and that is
Yeah.
enough. That is enough to last you a month. Whereas, you know, I was thinking, oh, what am I going to do today? And and that's
Yeah,
the
and I think
difference, isn't it, between
yeah,
Kathy and yeah,
switching perspectives, like the days being so much slower for Kathy, and then
yeah,
and um what's the mum's name? Sylvia,
Barbara,
Barbara,
Sylvia, Barbara, Sylvia, Margaret.
yeah, and Barbara's life being so defined by like her tasks as well, of like got to see the stars, we've got to do get the furniture.
Because again, it's all about what we're told to do. Like she is told, you know, Rachel, I don't think, you know, they're clearly not, I don't think they're not in an unhappy marriage or anything like that. She's not been told, I want you to become a housewife by her. She's just like, oh no, I'm moving to the suburbs. Yeah, this could be a good thing. I could be a housewife now. This could be nice, and it'll be easier for me and nicer, and have more time for painting and stuff like that. And it's what she's been told to do societally. You know, this is 1970. You know, it's cusp
It's
of
a
the
move
sixth.
back into
Yeah.
kind of domesticity for some
Mm,
people. And like,
mm.
yeah, I again, I thought when we had that first conversation of like, but you love teaching, I thought it was going to be something a bit more sinister of like, she's been forced to quit or whatever, like
Mm.
to appease her husband. But it wasn't that kind of film. It
No,
was we're just trying to fit into these molds. Again, same as when you're a burgeoning teenager, you're trying to fit into these molds of like who you think you should be, and then at some point you have to go, oh, actually, screw all that.
the same as when you're told to be a sort of happy retiree. You know, you've
Mm.
got all you can do whatever you want now. You've got all your that you can. You know, oh well, what am I going to do? Before we end, I want to talk about Kelly Freeman Craig, the writer and director of this film. Did you watch Edge of 17?
I did, yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good. I didn't rave about it, but I thought it was
Yeah, I
pretty
don't
good.
think I watched it more than twice.
Oh,
Like
you're one
I
up
don't
on
think it
me.
was really, I don't think it was really up there with like. I mean, I love, as you know, I love a coming of age
Mm.
film. I love a coming of age comedy. But yeah, it didn't hold up amongst my ranking. But yeah, I thought it was very strong. Oh,
I
I
do
did I
have.
did really like um that monologue about thinking that you're doing everything wrong all the time. Like that stuck with me.
I'm. I can't even remember this, but it says that Haley Lou Richardson was in it, and I love Haley Lou Richardson. She was wonderful in White Lotus. When are you going to watch White Lotus?
You know what? Ruby is trying to make me watch White Lotus.
Do you want to make that when I'm down for the week? Should we do one a night?
Sure. I mean, because they started it in the States because they had Hulu, and
Mm.
then I think they couldn't watch it for ages when they came back here.
Oh. You know, oh, I'm sure I can buy the Blu-rays. There's not on Blu-ray. Release them on Blu-ray. I don't want your DVDs. I don't want your DVDs. I want your Blu-rays. I'd have already owned them. Anyway, doesn't bother me. Um, but yes, are you there? It's me, Mike. Where are we? Where are we? Yeah. So it starts off with Nancy inviting her over. The wonderful Elle Graham, who is great throughout as just a sort of not necessarily bratty, but sort of a sort of outward kid.
Hmm. I knew
But her,
so many people like that as well.
yeah. Well, I mean, what a great opening line. You know, I live in the bigger house up the street. That sort of naive. I don't think she's being malicious or villainous or any way, shape or form. Just that sort of naive um, uh, quality. You know, but no, it's very good. She's great in it. Everybody is actually the whole group. We've got Catherine Mallon Kupferer as Catherine, and we have where's 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 the other girl? Where's is she called? Is she called Janie? She's called Janie, isn't she?
Yeah.
Janie Amari Alexis Price. No, because
Yeah,
I've been
this is what sealed it for me. Is like, oh, this is gonna be a good one. Actually, was just the formation of the girl squad or the club,
Mm.
and just seeing all their little like character quirks come together.
And
Because they're
yeah,
not similar people, really.
but it's who you end up living with on your street, and
Yeah, it's that quintessential like middle school friendship group, or like in our case, like year 7 and 8
Mm.
friendship group, where it feels like Pangea. You're all just kind of like lumped in together, and then in hindsight, you look back and you're like, those people would never hang out now.
Yeah. No, it's good. And offers a variety of different experiences, all going through the same thing. And no, I thought it was a beautiful ensemble. This is when the new casting Oscar. You're excited? 2 years from now. They have the secret club with no socks. But again, and this could be a very specific time for like Rachel McAdams to just become an evil bitch or something, and for that to be a conflict about, oh well, oh my mother, oh you have to wear socks, and it's like, no, are you sure you're gonna probably blister, and then when she comes home later, last thing about the socks, and she's so beautiful and natural and loving, and it's such a what did Steve once say? It's such a generous performance.
It is,
In that,
yeah.
and I want to say the same thing about Benny Safdie, because he doesn't have anything to do. I know that sounds rude, but he
No,
doesn't.
He's
He
the
doesn't have
dad,
any big
like.
scene. No, I know, but he doesn't have any big scene or anything, and but he's just wonderful in it. And yeah, anyway, um, I don't know what else to talk about before we take our first break and we continue through the film. Lovely! I love this little Kathy moment. Well, hello, Sylvia. Well, hello. Is Margaret home yet? No, no. Well, no, she's not home yet. Well, you said she's out at 3 and it's a 15-minute walk. It's 3:15. And just again, that loneliness. And I did cry 3 times when I watched it in the cinemas, and once this morning. And it was when she does the to-do puzzle, to-do list, and it was obviously the period near the end. And when did I? When did I? I think it was.
I wonder if it's the same 4 times.
Oh well, that really is me as a father. Just buckle the fucking seat, Henry.
Getting your own child's name.
Yeah. Well, that's why you've got to buckle it in. You can't just not buckle. You've got to buckle. Yes, I know that now. I know that. We're gonna take our first break, and then we'll be back to talk about all of our favorite parts of this beautiful, wonderful, tender, marvelous film. And I want your ranking of where it is for you in your sort of 2023 movie list, please. Okay, let's go through some of the actual film. So let's talk. So Barbara signs up for all of the committees. That's kind of her arc, which was an arc that's not in the book and was developed with Freeman Craig, with Judy Blume, actually, when the choice was made to sort of flesh out and make this a story of three women. Such a great arc here. I mean, it's a very basic arc, Oh, it takes all these. Yeah, why not? I'll do that. Yeah, yeah. And again, subtle. She's cutting all the stars, and then at the very end, just the most simple throwaway line of, "I'm sorry about the stars. I mean, I guess everything's a fire hazard these days." And just, there's no big. We're not going to need the stars anymore. What do you mean? There's just nothing, and it's just conceding.
And it's also not like it's not the familiar arc of she always knows what she wants, but you've got these external characters like ignoring her or like beating her down. She's like, "Oh, can I just?" And then they're like, "No, you're gonna do all these committees or whatever." It's
Mm.
like she's agreeing to all of these things,
Yeah,
and yes, they're being difficult and like a bit demanding, but in a very human way of like, "Oh yeah, you won't mind doing this, right?" And she's like, "No, sure, like of
yeah,
course."
why not?
And
It's only
she's like,
cutting stars, you know.
"But it's like the box is huge. Like there's at least like 200 in there." Um, and yeah, just like that payoff of I'd love to, but I don't want to. That was just perfect.
Again, so subtle and so brilliant. There's no big. I need, I need to focus on me now.
Yeah, there's
I
no like
need,
huge,
yeah,
she's not been pushed to the point of like a hysterical
yeah.
outburst
I'd love
because
to,
that I
but
would not be as compelled by.
I don't want to.
I don't
And
want to. Sorry.
it's just such a
Have a great
beautiful,
day.
touching, sweet, tender. I stick with my 10 out of 10. I gave this 10 out of 10. What a beautiful film. I do like. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing to change. It's the same. I gave Jackass 10 out of 10. I guess I gave Theatre Camp 10 out of 10.
Yeah, you did. Right
Did.
before the magic died. I feel like I feel like that Saoirse Ronan Little Women meme where she's like, I just feel like women. um, it was just
You could
like,
refer to a scene from the feature-length film Little Women as a meme.
well, yeah, because people cut just that section like before she goes on her rant, not her
I
rant,
know,
her
and they
piece,
cut out the bit
her
where she's like, "But
apology.
I'm still alone," or whatever she says.
Yeah, because no one wants to be alone.
I should
um,
watch Little Women again, I guess.
oh, it's
I haven't watched that
so
since the
good.
cinema.
Have you not?
No.
Oh, love it. It's great.
Mm.
I did when I was in the States, when I was on my study abroad, I did a group project comparing the 2019 and 1994 Little Women
Did you
adaptations.
watch the Catherine Hepburn one?
Is that
The 30s or
like
the 40s one?
the 40s one? No, we didn't. There's actually tons. Like it was
Yeah.
actually a really bad project because we realized how many there are. But we just went for the 94 and 2019.
Mm.
And it was
And
the most
what
excited
did
I've been about research.
what did you find?
Well, we looked at the different types of narrative devices, specifically 1994 moving chronologically and 2019 um, bouncing around between present and memory, um, and then about like how they focus on each characters and like how they bring their perspectives in different ways. It was great, and we passed the
Sure,
class. So.
I'm sure you did pass the class. Um,
But
every
yeah, so my
single.
point
Oh, sorry,
was,
go on. Oh, yes, I forgot. I was moving on. Go on.
my point was like it's just like it felt like such a seamless inclusion of these other two storylines. And how and again we are talking about Rachel McAdams being such a generous performer, like just all the threads of like her own life that yes they were kind of told explicitly through the monologue of like my parents don't talk to me anymore, but also just in such like little ways where you're like I know exactly why that character is behaving that way. She's overzealous and like over affectionate with people because she hasn't received that. And it's like it's one of those like character studies that is like you could easily have done this. You could have put like a whole host of like mid-30s actresses into this movie that like would not have needed to do all of that work, and it would have been fine. Like it would have worked fine. But like just everything that she brings to it is like so nice.
However, she's wondered. No, 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 she's very, and I'm very happy giving her the nomination. However, when I think of all of my favorite parts of the film, I do keep going back to Kathy. I do. I mean, I've got my next notes here. Every single Kathy call melts me, just
Mm.
absolutely melts me inside. And
I think I need to rewatch it because, again, like how you were saying, like I was kind of preempting something bigger, like a bigger conflict, or yeah, like her falling out with her grandma, or like being disillusioned and like not caring about her anymore as much. And I'm really glad that didn't happen.
no,
But
I
I
mean
think
when they
once
go
they
to
got
New
this
York,
kind of like,
when they go to New York for the Pirates of Penzance, and and she, and they're all it's all just so wonderful, and then that incredible payoff of Grandma, I was wondering if you could take me to temple sometime. What? Really? Really? What? What? She wakes up. Oh, I gotta choose what I wear tomorrow, and then bring. This is my granddaughter.
my
This is
granddaughter
my
who
granddaughter. My granddaughter's here this morning. So brilliant and funny, but also like complex. And looking at the, and when he's doing the traditional Hebrew, and Margaret she's doesn't matter, doesn't matter. And just also the acceptance of nobody. Well, there are obviously people, but like what different people come to religion for. I mean, she's the Jewish faith is so after for years and years you get of the Jewish faith you get a lot more people who, even though they're atheist or whatever, they still have a profound um
well,
not
yeah,
personality, identity, and
well, because
standness
yeah,
because of yeah.
the idea of being religiously Jewish and culturally Jewish
Mm,
or ethnically Jewish, like there's a lot of different threads to it,
mm,
you know, in a way that Christianity doesn't really have. And
no.
like I'd say both are very anchored in, community, but again, like Judaism, I think because they've come up against like so much oppression, it's reinforced the need for like each other. And like, yeah, I think yeah, it's tricky as well because like everyone's got a different relationship to like the church.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of like coming of age films that you see that have like this backdrop of, you know, institutions like Christianity.
Ah,
It's
fucking bleak. Oh.
yeah, it's always presented as like this oppressive force, which I completely understand. And like even in comedic films like Lady Bird, you've got this undertone of like, you know, well, actually, Lady Bird does it really well. It's like she kind of fights against like the notions of, being in a Catholic school, and then the minute she moves away, she goes to a church because it's like familiarity, it's home, it's
Yeah.
comfort. And I think that was really resonant and truthful of like, okay, you might not believe in it, but it's still something about it that makes you feel safe.
Mm.
And I
No,
think,
no, of
yeah,
course.
this movie
Yeah.
does it really well as well.
Mm. And again that complexity of Barbara's relationship with her faith, because she wanted to marry a Jewish man, and just the absolute dismissal of her family, and they don't want to see you anymore. And then she does this olive branch for Christmas card, and what comes of that? This incredible dinner, and again maybe my moment of the year, not really, but like one of my favorite moments of the year is, her calling, she can't go to Florida anymore. Oh, darling, this is so terrible. And she's, now hooking up with this guy, Mr. Binneman, just like
Mm.
cinnamon. And knock on the door. Who's that going to be? Hello, honey. Oh, brilliant. It's like, oh, this is going to
So
be
great.
excellent. And then at the dinner, now this is actually like one of my favorite parts of the film, L'Chaim. L'Chaim. And you think it's just going to be a little thing. And it's like, oh, okay. And this is every single person like to life. And just
And the
incredible
man
joy.
not knowing whether to
Yeah.
drink. Now that was like the toast. Right.
I I
And again,
thoroughly enjoy it.
it's a testament to how well, again, they've told each of the three women's stories up until this point. Because in the argument, I was like switching between who I empathized the most with.
Mm.
I was like, yeah, like I mean, not as far as Sylvia being like she is Jewish, because obviously we spent so much time with Margaret's inner monologue, but like Margaret being like, this is just so stupid. But then
Well, it's
also
just that.
Barbara's genuine like anguish of like,
Mhm.
you can't do this to my kid. Like you've already ruined my life. And like, so I understood it from her.
But then she accidentally slips up and say, Margaret is nothing. And you're like, oh, that is not what you mean, but that is all that a child is going to hear.
Yeah.
No, she's not Jewish. Margaret is nothing. And to see, let's talk about Abby Ryder Forster, who is just absolutely sensational in this film. We've done the typical, Tom thing of, oh, let's talk about the fabulous middle-aged supporting actresses. But she is just brilliant and so genuine and wonderfully humorous
Yeah.
and charming, but never realistic. And she just
Never
does such a marvelous.
overacted either. And
Never once.
I mean, she was up against. It was a tough category this year for child actors. She's up against a lot of great players in theatre camp.
Oh my mum! Yeah, she didn't do it. Oh, shut the fuck up. Okay, I think I'm.
Anatomy of
I,
a Fall.
I think I'm completely turning on Anatomy of a Fall. And do you know how hard it is to have me feel middling about a 2.5 hour court drama about a bisexual writer who maybe killed her husband?
I
That's
know.
like primed for me. I'm like, I didn't, and in the middle there's a huge extended argument. Do you know how much that is primed for me to enjoy? It's like, oh,
I know.
maybe the dog ate some diazepam. Who gives a shit? Also, oh, you've watched it now.
I have, yeah. I
Oh,
agree. I think it didn't really like there wasn't enough payoff for me. And I'm okay with ambiguous endings, but
if it felt
it's
like a cop out, it just felt like a
I
cop
was
out.
literally up until the credits rolled, I was waiting for someone to open their mouth and say, thanks for making up that story, son. Like, or like,
Yeah,
thanks
I
for
don't think.
covering
I
for
just
me.
I want the
I
kids.
was
Why
waiting
didn't
for
the
him
kid
to
do it?
like turn
Yeah,
around and not be blind. Like,
yeah. I want
that's
the
like
yeah.
where my brain was going, because I was like, they can't just leave it here
But it's
after
not even
all
that. I
this
love so
time.
many ambiguous movies. It just felt. I don't know. Maybe I'm a normie. I wanted the kid to be the killer. Um, yeah, I think he did do it. I'm going to say it now. Uh, but I think that's another. Why are we giving? Right. What is your most egregious Oscar snub then for I There Go It's Me, Margaret? Because again, no nominations. Beautiful, touching film. No nominations. I think you could make an argument for adapted screenplay.
Well,
Better than
yeah,
better than Barbie. You have to be smart, but you have to be not smart, and you have to be beautiful, but not too beautiful, which is insane. I really, um, I've had a hot one
my
this morning.
my feelings about that monologue, I had no issue with like the content of it and even the delivery of it, but I just felt, for me, and I will accept all criticism on this, but like for me it didn't feel like it was saying anything new. But then I think that is a privileged position for me to be in as a woman in my 20s, like having been exposed to a lot of like feminist theory in movies,
Oh
like.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
No,
I think if this is your first exposure to that, amazing, great. Like, I'm glad that this was the thing that sparked that conversation for you. I'll just leave
that's
there.
it.
I
No, no.
probably said
I
this
know.
in like 10 other ways on the pod. I forget what I'm saying.
No, I said the same thing in my review. I was like, yeah, I'm an adult. I
We'll
forget that
show
I'm.
your daughter this film, and she's
But
gonna love
actually, watching this again, Barbie's out of the circulation. I'm not buying Barbie on Blu-ray, but I will buy Are You There, Go to Me, Margaret, and little Laura and Audrey, or Matilda. I've got a series of different. What if I have a son?
it. You're gonna disown him, probably.
I'm going to be the opposite of Henry VIII.
The
um,
daughter, damn it.
Give me a woman child. No, I would much rather show them this and have them
Yeah.
actually learn things. And then
And
I can show them
it makes
better
you think
now about
about
Bat movies.
parenthood so much, and like,
The film with Steve Martin.
yeah, And just again that notion of like um all parents are just figuring it out. Like there's a quote that Andrew Scott mentioned when he was doing the press tour for All of Us Strangers, and it's like, be kind to your parents, they're living for the first time too. And I was like, period.
Sure.
um
Andrew.
and yeah, just that notion of like she's still figuring it out, and like you could easily blame your parents for a lot of like how you are, but it's because they were parenting only with the tools that they were given. Like,
They fuck you up, your parents. They may not mean to, but they do. For they were fucked up by parents, the same as you or whatever.
yeah, and
The
not even
Philip Larkin.
like a huge scale of like not even talking about like huge traumas or anything, but just like, if you not receive like a lot of affection, or like if that was not like their love language, like it's gonna be hard for you to kind of perpetuate that with your own kids. Or on the flip side, you work like your ass off to kind of create that for
There's a great
the next
monologue in
generation.
Rushmore where he's like, I had a terrible childhood, I gave my kids everything and now I resent them because they'll never understand.
Yeah,
They'll never. I
yeah,
mean, it's Mad Men, Series 6. I mean, it's the greatest series finale of all time. He takes them to the shithole where he grew up. And he's like, this is where I grew up. And everybody cries. And it's so beautiful. Anyway. Oh,
but yeah, what I really like about Are You There, God It's Me, Margaret is like you could have easily had Rachel McAdams be super mum and like doing everything perfectly, because it's not how she was treated. But instead you get this very, very human person of like, oh, you want to buy a bra? Oh, oh, okay, yeah, sure. And like supportive but also really awkward, and it's like,
are you
okay,
sure you need
you're
one? No,
handling
I
this
didn't mean
wrong.
that.
Like,
I didn't
yeah,
mean
and it's
no.
like, but that is so human. Like not everyone is gonna get it 100% right all the time, and like she gets the big stuff.
Which comes to I mean, we can talk about it. The two big period scenes in this film, the wonderful Elle Graham, who
Mm.
sends this postcard lying, I got it, and it's this big cheery thing. And then they go to to the Rockettes, and then we hear this crying through the book, and she's just sensational, so believable, and it's a
Yeah.
brilliant, brilliant scene. And then counteracts. You've got three different periods, and the way that everybody reacts differently. You've got, is it Gretchen? Yeah, Gretchen, and the way that she sort of tells it, sort of like nonchalantly.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
because she has an older sister.
yeah,
If you caught that, like
and then it
that
blend.
makes
Yeah,
all the difference of like, even if your parents are kind of stoic and like not ready to
mm.
talk about like menstruation, like you'll have someone in your corner who is like, yeah, this is what happens, whereas um Nancy and Margaret don't have that.
And it all builds to the final scene. This wonderful, she's weeing, and then we get this ding, and and then Rachel goes in
That was
and,
autobiographical. Like they took that from my
well,
childhood and they put
you
it into the
weed,
film.
you weed, or your mum
I
coming in.
mean, no, just like the ding light bulb moment. Like I wished for my period, and then it
Yeah.
came, and yes, this is a staple. Like I am woman,
Do
and
you know
then
how
I
hard
thought,
it is to say the
yeah,
line? To say the line, like, welcome to womanhood. I'm a woman, and you say those lines and not have them be cringy in any way or like feel forced or
it was so truthful.
I
It
don't know
was
why
so
I'm crying. And she's, and oh,
Is
and
that was
then,
that one of your crying moments? Were you crying
oh
too?
yeah. I went like I cry. What did I put in a Christmas card? I cry at commercials nowadays. I cry at
I
everything.
had a single Hollywood tear, and
And
it was great.
Hollywood tears, you should watch Babylon. When are you going to watch Babylon? You're not going to watch Babylon for a while until
I've
I.
got such a long list of Oscars and should have been Oscars and non-Oscars. Let
And
me live.
Dick's the musical. Um, that. Well, no, actually, that falls under should have been Oscars. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about with beautiful, wonderful? Aye, there, God, it's me, Margaret, Rhian.
Oh, I think I've had all of my mini rants.
Oh, another little beautiful one. When Mr. Binneman at the end, when they call him, Mr. Binneman's moved in with Kathy, and see you later, honey.
Oh yeah,
It's great.
that's great. That is great.
What's next for Kelly Freeman Craig? Because, pardon me, she's. I'm not saying this just because she's a female writer and director, but she's, following a kind of Greta mold. She's done a original coming of age movie about a young girl present day. She's adapted a hugely important seminal coming of age novel for women. And now what's next? Oh, I should probably get eaten up by Marvel. Oh, awesome shit. Please.
We can hope for
Does she have any
great movies? Yeah, I'd love to see more of the same.
Yeah. Well, this movie is produced by James L. Brooks, who I adore. One of my favorite films ever is Terms of Endearment, the movie that I did as a Sunday that I love showing people, and they always love it and cry. And yeah, no, Terms of Endearment is like very firmly in my top 10. Like, no, I'm not gonna watch it today. I've got other things to do, but I could watch it any day of the week, and this very much falls into that sensibility. Yes. Well, that was Are You There, God, It's Me, Margaret. Bye bye, Rhian.
Bye bye, Tom.
Dabba 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 da da ba 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 ba